go with episode 8 of the Mike Spot podcast. I'm Chris, senior producer and lead designer of 80s Mania Wrestling and Modern Mania Wrestling.
And I'm Josh, quality assurance and associate designer for 80s Mania Wrestling and Modern Mania Wrestling.
And I'm Aaron, narrative designer for 80s Mania Wrestling and Modern Mania Wrestling. So we have a lot of fun in our group chats, and recently we were spitballing random questions about in-game lore. I think it started when I asked which modern faction would make the best reality show. And it snowballed from there, and before we knew it, Chris had a list like 30 deep. So we decided that today, we're going to take some of those questions and play a little game.
Yeah, right on. I always get a kick out of those, like on YouTube, they'll do like shoot interviews. You see them all over the place now, shoot interviews with guys, usually retired wrestlers. And I just thought, man, how fun would that be to kind of have that presentation for our characters and sort of think of these like shoot style questions and what would the answers be? And, the imagination just starts running wild. So like Aaron said, we figured this might make a cool little opening segment for our next Mike Spot episode. So
yeah,
we'll play a little game here. This is totally on the spot, right? We did not think of these questions ahead of time. We did not prepare answers ahead of time. Wink, wink. No, we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever question pops up, we are going to answer it on the spot. So, Josh, did you want to step up to the wheel first?
All right, I'm the guinea pig. Let's go. Let's go for it.
All right, give it a spin. Here we go. Ready?
Oh, there it goes. All right, which wrestler or team would be most likely to no-show an event? All right, well, I think that for this one, there's a pretty obvious choice. Unfortunately, he has a knack for getting lost, especially on those overseas shows. You never know what kind of trouble he's going to get into. I'm going to pick Hal Sand. He
yes.
he
right.
He definitely has a penchant for getting lost, so I think that he probably would no-show pretty often. Him and Wood get in all kinds of trouble. So
that's a good answer.
So he's not no-showing on purpose. He's just getting lost on his way to the arena.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And for modern, I think a different direction. It's probably Richie B. He's a billionaire. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He probably he's got other commitments.
Yeah, he doesn't mind getting fined for missing a show, right?
Not at all.
Right, there it is. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. All right, let's keep this game moving. I'll spin the wheel. Here we go. Where will it stop? There it is. Which wrestler would have the wildest road stories?
Ooh.
All right. Immediately, I'm thinking Arizona Chance. So clearly, he's going on like absurdly adventurous side quests between each show. And if you think of some of like the venue locations we have, I mean, not the ones that are sort of reality based, right? But the ones that are, pretty imaginative. I can only dream up some of these like treasures and all sorts of trouble that he'd be chasing and getting into. Then you've got his alt, right? So you got Chance Solar, right? So he's not only just hopping in a car and traveling from state to state. Now he's hopping around star systems and whatnot, right? And he's not just hitting up the hotel bar, he's hitting up like cosmic cantinas and whatnot. So there's got to be all sorts of shenanigans going on while Arizona Chance is traveling. And you consider this, he's still around in Modern Mania, so he's racking these adventures up. So I'm imagining he can write several books worth of road stories. So I'm definitely going with Arizona Chance on that one.
I love it. Yeah. Hopefully those books get released someday.
Yeah, I'd read them.
Same.
All right, Aaron, you ready to spin this wheel or what?
Let's go.
Here we go.
All right. Which wrestler would make the best superhero if they had powers? Okay, so my mind goes a couple of different places here to start. First off, seems sometimes like maybe there are some characters in these games that have some type of abilities. I'm not sure. But when I look at a character like Celestia, even starting off as Celeste, she's already rocking some type of heightened sense situation going on there. By the time she becomes Celestia, I don't know if she's touched by an angel or what, but she's got something that feels a little bit extra going on. So I'm going to lean towards characters like that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, she's pure good. And when you have a character like that, maybe it's a little bit cheap to take that alignment from Modern, but it works and it lends itself really well. You could also probably say the same for somebody like Grand Manga, who, I mean, the guy put together a super faction of heroes, so clearly there's something going on there, and he totally looks like a superhero. And then I'm going to go a little bit out of left field on this one, because I think character also kind of matters here. And I think that the Ladybugs, given powers, would wield them responsibly.
I like that. They got the mentality for it.
They definitely, I think, would take to the superhero life and get a kick out of it.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
And then on the 80s side, you know, Dickie Thunderbird is the epitome of a pure good. And Zen is the epitome of the hero's journey. So I'm going to go with those for 80s.
I like that you approached it from the personality standpoint as opposed to whose powers would be enhanced if they were trapped in a gamma explosion or whatever, you know, whatever the backstory may be. I like the approach you took on that one. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man. Integrity matters.
All right, Josh, let's step up.
All right, let's get it. Okay, let's see. Which wrestler or team would win in a basketball tournament? You know, it's taken everything in me not to pick Slam Jam and Blitz. Slam Jam and Blitz.
Yeah, right.
The ultimate sports team.
Exactly.
I think that's too easy. So I think that I'm going to go with someone, you know, they have a little bit of the Muggsy Bogues vibe, you know, maybe after all those wars with the Queen of Mean, she's had to up her game a bit. I'm talking Spunky Sparks. All right.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
I think that she's got a higher vertical than you'd expect. All right, maybe you know, and she's really in basketball, it's all about the heart of the game. You know,
true.
And, I think Spunky's got more heart than anybody. So you know, she's gonna get by you and you know, get to the basket for sure.
Fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I could see Spunky totally dunking on Swish. Totally see it.
Oh yeah, I was about to say Swish is the obvious choice for Modern, but you know, I just don't think that he holds a candle.
No, he'd try, but she's got that one. All right, let me get my final spin in here. All right, let's see what we got. Which wrestler would be the most likely to go into business for themselves in the ring?
Oh boy.
When I'm thinking about this one, so I just talked about, you know, Chance Solar and whatnot. So immediately my mind goes to Dark Invader, who is someone who probably isn't even considering what the booker told them. Just he's going to go in the ring and just kind of do what he wants to do. But then again, he's probably working often enough with Arizona, and I can just see Chance just like keeping him in line, right? Like, you know, Chance is going to call that match. He's not going to let Invader screw around too much. So, all right, so not going to be Invader. So, but then I'm thinking in the same vein of like evil mastermind, and I'm going to go with Copper Commander.
Okay.
So I can just see him that he's so devious and conniving that he'd like risk it all for some kind of desired outcome. Like, I don't know, maybe like legit hurts his opponent, or, you know, kicks out when he's not supposed to kick out, or doesn't sell a spot or something like that. But I could just see him as like the guy who is going to get fired or banished for going into business for himself.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the consequences, you know.
And then I apply that same line of thought to Modern, and it's Black Plague. It's got to be.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's so dangerous that he's not only going to do what he needs to do in the ring, but he's probably going to try to overthrow the whole structure of the Federation. Yeah, and speaking of Black Plague, we got to get on that rework soon. You know, I see you, Discord community. All right, Aaron, let's give it one last spin. Here we go.
Okay, which wrestler would eat all the catering before the show even started? So I'm going to start, I think, with 80s here. That's where my mind goes. And naturally, you know, you have the obvious, the big guy choices. Chief Buffalo, Willie Mammoth, that kind of thing. You could do that. It makes sense. But I feel like I should have a little more fun with this, be a little more creative. So I'm going to go with the guys who don't care. And that is the Gnarlies. The Gnarlies are big guys, but they're also uncouth. They do not care if there are other wrestlers back there. If they want to eat, they're going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's none left for you, tough. If there is some left, I think that the Mullets are going to go to town on it. But Zeke is a big guy. Here's the spin. It's not Zeke that does the most damage at that catering. It's Cletus. He's skinny, but he can pack it away.
I've known some guys like that, yeah.
And then finally, I mean, come on, Hal Sand. The man was on an island for a very long time. He is starving.
That's true. He's starving.
Hal Sand is getting his at that catering buffet. And then over on Modern, Modern's a little simpler for me, I think. I mean, have you seen Massive Gains? His name is Massive Gains.
Right.
He might not eat everything that is back in catering, but he's sure eating all the protein. I guarantee it.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, right? Carnivore diet over there for sure.
Great choices, guys. Great questions as well. If you like those questions, make sure to leave your responses in the comments below and give us some more questions. If you're enjoying this format, then we'll definitely add it to future episodes. So, and with that, I think it's time that we skip to a commercial, and then we'll get back to 80s Mania after the break.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Bubblicious wants to take you to paradise. Introducing new Paradise Punch, the fruity new flavor that's got the tropical taste of paradise. Get set for radical action in these exciting home video games, featuring smooth animation and endless entertainment from Capcom USA.
And we're back. Aaron, what do we have for 80s Mania since the last episode?
All right, in 80s, over the last couple of months, we have had some pretty huge developments on the scene, if you get what I'm saying. First off is Goliath. Now, Goliath, a giant dude. I'm a big fan of Pierre, love some Orcanus, all those kind of guys. Willie Mammoth, still one of the funniest names in the game to me. It was time for a new one. We needed some more repping in the late 90s, I think, in particular. Goliath is a guy we've been excited about for a long time. And we actually originally had the idea of holding him off to debut as part of the new game. But eventually we just decided we liked him too much. We had plenty of other things we could do for the new game. Let's throw him out there and give him to the people. So Goliath debuts. He's 7 foot tall and way too many 100 pounds. And he's out there, no doubt, wreaking havoc on your Fed right now.
I know he is for me, for sure.
And so I'm excited to use him. He's a guy I've been waiting for a long time, so I'm glad we did it. After that, we decided to do something kind of similar on the ladies' side as well. The guys got a monster. The ladies needed a monster too. They've had Gorgon hanging around for a while. Gorgon needed, a rival.
Yeah.
And there needed to be more powerful women stomping around in the Fed. So Stomp Kaiju. I gotta tell you, I have rarely been so excited about particularly the visual of a character.
Yeah.
Just looking at her and the damage you can clearly do in the ring, and then seeing the colors and the kind of scale-ish looking armor padding gear thing that she's wearing. And, we're always looking for an opportunity to add to the ladies division, particularly near the top of it. And she's a main eventer. So you can put her out there and, you can get some good results for her. She's got some quality stats.
Great feuds, too.
Meshes up well with a lot of the other ladies on the roster. Very excited about having her in the game.
And if I may, about the art real quick, I know for a fact Rusty Shackles, our awesome artist, did go ahead and post himself, I think on his private Facebook page or wherever it may have been, that that was his singular favorite piece of art that he's ever done for us. So
wow,
that speaks a lot too.
Understandable. She's easily one of mine as well.
Agreed. About her inspirations too, I think she holds down a really interesting spot in that 80s era. And then, then you cross over into the 90s and based on another inspiration for her character, I think she holds a really nice spot in both decades as you play through. So, Josh, let's hop into what's been going on with Modern Mania since we last recorded.
All right, yeah, similar with 80s, there's been a lot of stuff happening in Modern. One of the big things, I think, that we kind of alluded to last episode was that we got a big release in December for Judah coming over to Modern Mania. Also going by his shoot name, Lars Judah. His maybe kayfabe name, The Harbinger. He's coming in with a lot of character,
right?
A lot of personality, a lot of history in our games. Judah was one of my favorite drops of the year last year, and making his way to Modern just made sense. He's been really running up the card for my Fed, so I'm sure he's running up the card for everyone else too.
Oh yeah, I'm plugging him in anywhere I can.
And a fun thing about him too is, unlike almost all of our releases, he was one that was anticipated.
Yeah.
Like, it was no secret, it was no surprise that he was eventually coming to Modern, which is a bit unusual for the way we do things, but I kind of like that there was this underlying anticipation for when he would appear. And he appears in grand fashion, so very appropriate for the character, very fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, not to mention, like the influences that went into him, a lot of Rockstar influences, it really came together in a very interesting take on Judah.
Right.
I also wanted to mention the Grifter update that we got, a little update to Grifter, just a little polish to one of his alts. And I think kind of brings him in to build more personality off of this character, which to me is like an iconic classic character in Modern Mania.
Agreed. He's always been a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And, after that in January,
Zeta Quade.
And
the Equalizer.
We're just
Quade.
To some.
To his friends, yeah, he's Quade.
Yeah, to his friends, it's Quade. He's one of my favorites. He came with a whole overhaul, all new art, some of my favorite rework art we've ever done. Just like a really huge improvement. Zeta's been one of my favorites in this game since I first started playing, and to see him get a little bit of love and get the rub for finally, and kind of catching up to the status of some of these other cards, I think that he really, really got an upgrade here. So it came with a 2-star feud. You got two new feuds and a new tag team. So really awesome stuff with Zeta.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Zeta to get this glow up, as it were, because I know he's a character who, if I am not mistaken, has actually been in the game from the beginning.
Yep, he's an OG from the original game. Yeah, that art.
Yeah, so it's nice to see him kind of get some new shine. And one of the things that is really cool about this game for us, and it being Modern Mania, is that every once in a while we have chances like this where we can continue to modernize it in real time as it goes.
Yeah, for sure. And for, Modern fans listening, we've got so many rework concepts sort of in our pipeline that's our intent, for 2025, is to not only provide new characters, of course, but to always try to be touching up existing characters, whether it be a full-blown art rework like you've got with Zeta, where like we redraw all 4 versions, or sometimes there's the smaller reworks like you saw last October, where we gave Kazaya that one particular rework, one version of her got reworked. And then there's the small subtle stuff. We might go back and give you a tag team on a C and D version that wasn't there before, and we just kind of play with the coloring of the art and whatnot to kind of match up the tag team so that their gear is in sync with each other. So there's different degrees of reworks, but we definitely intend on this year really paying attention and focusing on ways to improve the overall roster with these little touch-ups and reworks here and there, in addition to all the new stuff. So again,
stay tuned for the rest of the updates this year. There's going to be some great stuff in the pipeline. We just got some art back for the next release, and it's amazing. It's really great. I can't wait for you all to see it.
Oh, I'm so excited about that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, and with that, I think that's all I've got for Modern Mania. Chris, did you have a shout out for us this week?
Yeah, I was considering the shout out for this episode, and I think Josh pointed out to me that this is our 1-year anniversary of the Mike Spot. I think we launched our first episode back in January of 24. So here we go. Who would have thunk that we would have, got through 1 year already? So what I want to do then is I want to shout out, first of all, my fellow hosts, Josh and Aaron. Thank you guys. And I hope everyone listening is enjoying what we're doing here. It's super fun for us to get together once every other month or so and just kind of chat and have those fun opening segments here where we just have fun talking about the creations and, recapping stuff, and being able to communicate with everyone listening verbally is a huge plus for us, that we don't have to, rely on social media posts and inbox messages and stuff. It's really fun to be able to kind of talk directly to you guys out there. Further, I want to give a shout out to the other Checkmate team members who don't or haven't yet appeared on the show, right? We got Igor and Brian and Marco and Larry. These are guys who contribute so much in different ways to what we do. I'm personally super appreciative of everyone on the team. And, without the work and creativity of everybody, we couldn't do what we do. We couldn't build games. We couldn't support games. So shout out to the Checkmate squad, and shout out to everyone who's listened to this podcast for a year straight. And let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I got to second that. What started as a developer's blog it's still kind of that, but also it's evolved into something bigger that I think is a great tool to interact with the community of people who play this game. It's a lot of fun. I know you guys, let me hop in a few episodes into it, and it's been a great ride since. It's funny, I kind of view it as the announce booth, and it's tough to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? We already have color and play-by-play kind of. What does the third voice really do? But I guess that's maybe a problem for the wrestling federations to deal with. We're doing fine where we're at. But at the same time, I also kind of view the show and the layout as sort of a card in a sense. We had our opening act, a lot of fun with the questions there, the spin the wheel, and then the mid card, we kind of get to catch up on current events and cards and wrestlers that have just come out. And then we got the main event, the thing that a lot of people are waiting to hear, and that's the closing segment where we usually kind of drop some hints about what is to come.
Yes, so let's stick with tradition of the last few episodes and devote this final segment to some reveals about the new game we're working on. Now, for anyone who hasn't heard, we are working on a brand new game. It's actually our biggest project to date, for sure, and it is set in the Mania universe. It is going to be separate from 80s Mania and Modern Mania in the sense that it's not directly a sequel to either of those games, but again, it's set in that same universe, so it's full of the characters that you know and love. It basically merges both of those games together under one roof, and it does, in previous episodes, we explained that it does expand the years. We dip back into the 70s, and we move forward into the 2000s. So it's a bigger scope. In every single way you guys can imagine, it's bigger in scope and scale. So anyway, let me talk a little bit about a new reveal for this episode. So, I wanted to focus on the new game allowing players to customize all sorts of stuff. Customization is a feature that players, always request. They want to be able to sort of, create their own stuff, and this new game allows for a lot of it. So let me kind of go down the list here. So in the new game, you're going to be able to create your own tag teams, trios or six-man tags, whatever you prefer to call that, factions, okay? You're going to be able to make your own feuds, whether that's singles or tag or trio six-man. You can set your own feuds up. A brand new feature that's super exciting is the ability to create your own title belts. All right, so let me talk a little bit about that. There's going to be an area, a screen devoted to title belt customization and creation, where you choose the name of the belt, and we'll have a list of selectable names, and we're going to try to cover all bases there. We're just going to have a ton of names based on real life belts and a bunch of lore based belts and really anything we can come up with. And of course, we can add more selectable names in the future as you guys suggest some names you'd like to see for these title belts. We'll put them in there, of course. You'll also be able to then select the artwork for the title belt, and then determine how the title belt you created functions. So, like, for example, you'll set, is it a male or a female title? Is it for singles or tag or six-man? Is it for cruiserweights and heavyweights? Or all those sorts of designations you'll be able to select, and you'll save the title, and you'll have that title in your game. So that is very exciting. Another one, there is a new show type coming where you can basically create your own tournament brackets. So you'd select this new show type, which again is a tournament, and it could be a singles or a tag tournament, and you could have 8 slots in the bracket or 16 slots in the bracket. So that's a lot of fun, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of tournaments. And we are also going to have custom results for your matches. So these will be selectable options that don't replace the outcome of the match, but just how the match played out. For example, selecting a roll-up as the finish as opposed to a finisher. If you wanted to tell a particular type of story and you didn't want the loser of the match to be, for example, buried by, taking the other wrestler's finisher, you could opt to, have the result be a roll-up instead. Just an example there, but customized results. And of course, you'll be able to customize your own player profile within the game that other players are going to be able to view. Now, we'll talk more about that in a future episode because that's a whole nother can of worms there. The player profile and the interactivity between players in the game. That's for another day.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there's so much more to talk about with this new game, but I've got to cut myself off at some point. So that's enough for this episode. In the meantime, I'm getting back to playing the game.
We hope you have fun playing too. And as always,
If you're down for more mic spots,
Stay tuned.
Are you a fan of Checkmate creative content? The most impactful way to show your support is by leaving our games 5-star ratings on Google Play and the App Store. That ensures we keep making more of the content you love and games you want to play. Following both 80s Mania Wrestling and Modern Mania Wrestling on Instagram, X, and Facebook is the best way to stay up to date with our latest news and character reveals. We invite you to share any and all feedback about your playing experience directly with us at support@80smaniawrestling.com or support@modernmaniawrestling.com.
This has been a Checkmate Creative production.